Morning, folks. Timber Drifter here. So I'm doing a river trip right now. I'm 10 days in, pretty sure. I'll have to look at my calendar. This might be 9 days, might be 10. I'm not sure. I've lost track. Anyway, I've come just under 100 miles so far, and I've got another 330 some miles to go if I choose to continue. I have no intention of stopping right now, but who knows how far I'll get. This river dumps into the Mississippi River. This is the Wisconsin River that I'm on. Starts out up on the Michigan border at Lac Vieux Desert, runs over and down and over across Wisconsin and feeds into the Mississippi, and I'm trying to do the whole thing. If I don't, I'm not upset about it. Anyway, it's sometime in September. And last night I camped on this neat little island in the river here, and there's an old, what I'm sitting on is an old concrete step poured on top of river rock, and there's an old stacked stone foundation here behind me and off to the side, and 80 to 100-year-old garbage everywhere. It wasn't a big cabin, and it's not a big island, so I think it was probably built in the 20s, maybe the 30s, just looking at the garbage that's around. Some of the garbage is more recent. When I say more recent, I mean probably from the 60s. But there's some neat stuff here. There's huge boulders on this island, too. One of the things I found was a piece of crockery. I'm fairly certain this is from a jug, not an actual crock, given the size and the thickness of it. There's no markings to be seen, but pretty neat. And then this thing here looks like the top of an old water cooler to me. There's various old different patterns of enamelware, wash basins, old coffee pot, and various generations of stovepipe. You can see some of them are much older and burnt through, and newer stuff was used. There's old cans littered around and various pieces of metal and a bed frame over there. Excuse me. I just ate a bunch of these little apples I've been gathering along the river. Gnarly little things. They taste sweet though. Very good. And stopped in one of the towns along the river here and stayed with a buddy of mine a couple nights ago. And had him drive me around and so I could get some more stuff. A couple of resupply on a few items. Picked up another cob. I had bought one of these last spring and lost it. And this one isn't as nice as the one I had, but I can smoke on this thing for about an hour while I'm going down the river. And if you're the kind of guy that goes through a good bit of tobacco every day, or every couple of days, I recommend these ball containers. They're freezer containers. They're not totally airtight, but they will hold, they will keep the tobacco fairly moist for several days. And it's a handy container. You can knock it about. The lid won't come off of it. Yeah, I had a little trouble last night. I initially, when I stopped to check this island out to see if I could camp on it, where I pulled in was on that end of the island, and as soon as my canoe hit the shore, I got swarmed by Yellowjackets and stung several times on the ankles where I had exposed skin. I've never reacted to bee or wasp stings of any kind other than, the usual small bit of swelling and irritation. But I reacted last night, probably because I've been stung so much recently. But for the first time in my life, I broke out in hives and had trouble breathing. Things were a little touch and go. And I don't carry an EpiPen because I've never reacted to anything. So, and you have to be prescribed one of those. If you didn't have to be prescribed an EpiPen, I probably would have just bought one to bring it along on the trip. But since I've never reacted to anything, I don't have one. And none of these houses along here are occupied. Everybody's gone for the season. So it occurred to me if things got too bad, I could at least go figure out where I was. But I went to several of these houses on either side of the river, and there aren't houses. They're just it's just a pier out in the river with a boat and a campsite. And one place I probably walked a half a mile and didn't find a road. I just walked this driveway. Same thing on the other side of the river. My maps show there's no roads anywhere near here, so there really wasn't anywhere to call an ambulance to should things have gotten bad. So I just came back to camp here and drank some water and mellowed out. And I'm fine this morning. I feel good. I ended up having a fever last night. And yeah, I feel good. I survived it. So anyway, it's a good experience to have. I don't have one of those neat little lighter cups that goes to a retractable keychain, which is what I'm wearing here. So I just wrapped a zip tie around a lighter and taped it on with camo Gorilla tape. Check tool from Mike. This thing comes in very handy. And what I carry on me all the time on this trip. Old Camillus Mariner pattern. Marlin spike for doing knot work. It's not a crazy weapon like people seem to react to it. It's for untying knots, which I do a lot of. Yeah, what else can I show you? Top to an old wood stove. But yeah, this is on me all the time so I can smoke a pipe and not lose my lighter. This isn't Dag swag. I've never ordered anything from them. Nothing against them at all. This is just stuff I bought at the hardware store, you know. But I see them using this kind of stuff. And a lot of people using that with the Dagner stickers on them, which is cool. Maybe I'll order a Dagner pipe someday. But this is Timber Drifter style. Camo Gorilla tape. Brown lighters. My wind caps from Leo come in very handy for smoking on the water. It's often quite windy on the water. Yeah, so just sitting here reviewing my maps this morning. Lots of maps. As I go through a section, I take it off and put it upside down in the back. Which is what I'm going to do right now. big city I went through the other day. Got a dam coming up, probably within an hour of hour's paddle from here. So I'll be portaging. Pretty big portage right away. It takes me 3 trips to carry my stuff. 1 for the canoe and 2 for the other stuff. I'm traveling in a 12-foot Old Town pack that I've named the Wild Goose. I had custom covers made up for the front and back, so I can handle the big water, the big waves. As long as I'm going into the waves or cutting diagonally across the waves, I'm pretty good. And they're big enough when they're white capping, when they're 2 foot high or more, which I've already been through 4-foot waves on a flowage here. And that's a pretty hairy situation. That's non-stop paddling, never stop. That water will wash over the front edge and the back edge of the canoe right before the ends. It doesn't wash in the middle, hardly ever. So those covers keep that out. It just washes over the cover, you know, and off the side. And the covers also keep my stuff dry pretty much in the rain. Water still gets in where I'm sitting and goes under, but it's a small canoe. It holds me, and I think I've probably got about 65, 70 pounds of gear. I'm sleeping in a handmade hammock from the hammock shop in St. Germain, Wisconsin. It's heavy. It's not a backpacker's hammock, but it's kind of a Cadillac hammock. And I'm using an AquaQuest tarp. My camp there. There's one of those basins somebody's hung up on a tree. That's the majority of my gear. A couple of AquaQuest dry bags, a little cheap Walmart dry bag. There's a seal line dry bag back there that the sleeping bag goes in the bottom of, then the hammock ties. And then the tarp has its own stuff sack, not a dry bag, because the tarp is often wet. Another old basin. That dry bag has food that I get into for breakfast, and then the bucket with the white lid, Gamma Seal lid, has my food in it. The other bucket with the padded seat on it is what I sit on most of the time, and it's got my tools in it, and batteries and things like that. Got my sleeping bag hanging up here, drying out from the night. That's a great tarp. It's rectangular rather than square. I don't remember what the dimensions are. Not sure what that is. Some kind of galvanized setup. Probably an old cabinet. They used to use galvanized a lot to keep the mice out of things. That's one of those large boulders there. Part of the foundation and a super thick old piece of stovepipe. There's just sheet metal all over here. I'm pretty careful the way I'm walking around here because I don't know that there aren't nails, old rusty nails sticking up. Give you a view of the river. Oh, and what I'm smoking, by the way, is Peter Stockeby English Oriental Supreme. Some of the blends that I have with me are that, and Cornell and Deal, Mountain Camp, and Haunted Bookshop, of course, which is my standard smoke. And H&H, 10 to Midnight, another standard of mine. There's my little canoe pulled up on shore. And then, yeah, just a few other random things. Alright, folks. Maybe I'll make another video if I'm still out here in 10 days. Take care.